awesome. I had to share that with you. I'm Lash of Black Company. I've been in the SCA for 35 years as a fringy mercenary. And I just want to tell you, thank you for coming to my show, Fantastic Fringies. I had to share that entry video with you guys. It was made by a good friend of mine who I invited to the show. And it is so awesome. I had to share that with you. Just put it out there because, man, it's really well done and fires you up, man. I just wanted to actually thank everyone for their support and the things they've been doing to help me promote my show. But enough of that. I just wanted to let everyone who has not seen this show before. I actually do this show to bring to light people in the SCA who are overlooked or you just may not know, and to get people to actually step out of their comfort zone and talk about themselves and the wonderful things that they do. And one of those is Lord Cesar Alejandro Baracoa, a fantastic dude, very nice guy, and I'm really happy to have you on my show, bro. It's really exciting to have you on here because the stuff that you do in your area and you've done in other places really does need some recognition. So why don't you tell everyone about yourself?
First of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. I'm a heavy fighter, also a rapier fighter. I'm currently a territorial marshal and a deputy central for the canton of Southern Caid and the barony of Calafia. I also participate in the courting guard. And then during once a month, I go and participate in the Army Brigade practices, and that's where I discovered the youth combat. And when I discovered that, I just fell in love with it, and I asked my son if he wants to participate, and he says, "Yeah, Dad." And so as a parent, I became very active and started helping with youth combat, and I became a youth combat marshal as well. So I wear a lot of hats, which I love. I don't mind. During this whole pandemic, unfortunately, I had to go through 2 knee surgeries, so I'm not really actively fighting heavies yet, but I am slowly building my strength for rapier fighting. So, and I want to thank the Steel Brigade of Calafia for graciously helping me out to get my bearings in terms of getting my knee strength and learning relearning my footwork again. So it's just awesome.
Well, what a time to have surgery.
Yeah, I know. So true. I mean, there's
a lot of us should have done that.
Yeah. Well, during that time, I mean, when I got out of the surgery, I was slowly recovering. My son and I participated on the 100-day Pell Challenge. So both my son and I are both reapers. So
nice.
So yeah, we had a great time doing that, and we learned different moves and different techniques. So it was really great.
So so along that, we know that you do a lot of stuff. How did you first get started?
Woo! I started in the early 90s in the Barony of Angels in Caid. A bunch of alumnus came to my school, and they did a demo. And I was one of the few who was old enough to participate. And I was able to, first time, put on armor and actually fought at the demo. So it was really cool. And ever since, I love it. And after school, after graduating, I started going to the Angels practices. And at first, I didn't have any armor, so I did like shanais. That was a big thing during that time, was shanais, and then buffer weapons. And then finally, I was able to get into armor and get my own suit of Japanese armor with purple lace, with red, and then purple pants. I was really like standing out.
So, in doing that, what are some of the challenges you faced when you first started?
Well, when I first started, it was just transportation. And then after that, I, slowly but surely build my own stuff and get everything started. That was not really the big challenge. The big challenge was um, after participating for so many years and fighting in different wars, enjoying with my friends, life happened and I had to stop what I was doing because 80% of my time was traveling to different countries. So then I got to the point where my whole family, moved to Germany and lived in Germany for a while. So when I came back to California, all my stuff was either ruined because we've been sitting in storage, or I got bigger. Story of my life, I got huge. So I had to rebuild, repurchase, trying to find people to help me out to get new garb and armor and stuff like that. And so a really good close friend of mine, Dougal, kind of inspired me. Hey, look at this place, look at that place. And so I was able to purchase 16, 20-ish garb. And then I, after a while, when I start, focusing more on my path, but mostly on my persona, and I went towards the 11th century era of the Andalusian. So that's where I start focusing on that era recently. So.
And do you feel when you first started, were you in any kind of group? I mean, were you a fringy? Did you consider yourself mainstream or?
Nah, I was behind the scenes majority of the time. I mean, a lot of times I just hang out with a bunch of teenage kids, and we, myself and another person, he's no longer participating in SCA, but we kind of help set up tents, set up shades, help the barony clean up a little bit. But that was it. We never got the recognition or anything during that time on what we did. I mean, I did participate in a couple of tournaments, but I wasn't a big thing. I was just in the shadows, I guess.
You are, to me, an extremely successful person because of the way that I saw you running the youth combat stuff and doing other things, and especially the way that you interact with the kids, which was fantastic. That's what drew me to getting to know you at Great Western War when you came and asked me if I would help you marshal. And we had a blast, and then you even did an impromptu tourney, and it was fantastic. And the way that the kids responded to you with respect and stuff. And I really wanted to get to know you. And so how did you get to that point? How are you successful in what you do?
Well, before the whole youth combat thing, I participated in a lot of the coaching with my son. So as a parent, I did what I had to do to help out, make it fun and make it enjoyable. So coaching, I did a lot of football coaching, soccer, baseball, and then I participate in the Cub Master because my son would participate in the Cub Scouts. And so as a Cub Master, you have to be very entertaining, very energetic, and very loud. So and a lot of the ideas that I've been using for youth combat, kind of I got it from Cub Scouts, and also what really helped was I had people helping me out, colleagues that helped me out with youth combat. I could probably name a whole bunch, but I got two ladies, Melez and Lydiana, who helped me out with youth combat all the time, and we're always going back and forth, coming up with great ideas. Some of them are really crazy, and a lot of poor, the Baron. It was always the Baron being needs to be saved, or the Baron is in trouble.
Wow, we've never heard that before.
Yeah. So the kids come in and come to the rescue. So we have all these wacky ideas and stories. So that was fun.
It sounds like you're talking about hard suitors too.
Yes. A lot of the hard suitors comes in and And I ask them, hey, mind fighting with these guys? And we create like melees, like epic melee battles with the kids. And I work with the kids in how to form a shield wall or how to protect themselves on the shield wall. And so it was a great experience for them, and they love it. And they got more into it as we go along.
So you just said that you have a son, and well, tell us about your family.
I'm married for
I put you on the spot, didn't I?
Yeah.
You better remember now. She's sitting there watching you.
I know. She's right there going, I am. No, yeah. Over 20 years. It was very, very blissful. And then my son, who's like right now 14, he's been very active. He always liked to do things, especially with history. Him and I would be talking about World War II stuff, so he's really embedded in history. So, and ever since I took him to like Renaissance fairs, he always dressed up in a little pirate. So come, so he's the powder monkey in the group, So yeah, so we had a great time.
So you're basically what you're saying also is that the reason you're successful is because your interaction with your son. And in the different levels of play that he was doing, you were doing with him as he came up. Basically. Yep. Yeah, that's fantastic, man.
Yeah, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And of course, my wife always supports me. She's not an SCA participant. She won't even touch that in the 10-foot pole, which I don't blame her. It's not for everybody. Yeah, but it's a great LARPing. I call it LARP. People don't like it, but it's a LARP.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a game, and I love this game. I love the fact that we can pretend to be someone in during the Middle Ages or the Renaissance stage, or during the Roman times. Dude, it's fun. It's the whole point. It's just go out there and pretend what you want to be. You want to be a pirate? Be a pirate. You want to be a Roman soldier? Be a Roman soldier. Go for it, man.
Live action role play.
That's right. You can beat up legally without going to jail. It's great.
So, now, in what you've told me so far, it sounds like you've actually had a really good time coming up in the SCA, and that you really didn't have anything, bad happen or something. But looking back on it, is there anything that you would have done differently?
During my younger stage, one thing for sure is pictures.
Yeah.
I never took a picture of myself. I always avoided myself. And ever since that, I was like, man, I'm regretting it. So because I did all that cool stuff in the early 90s. My armor, I don't have pictures of my old Japanese armor, so this is really sad. So I was like, man. So like now, with the whole social media, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a habit of taking pictures of myself, my son fighting, do all this stuff, and I'm gonna make sure I do things like that, because sometimes it's like my memories, it's not as good as it used to be, and I want to make sure I remember it. I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I love this,
I have zero. I have like 4 pictures of the 80s and 90s, maybe 5 pictures. There's probably pictures out there of me, but people just don't realize that was me. Yeah. But every once in a while I'll see what I'm like, oh, and it's like my butt, or my head peeking over a shield,
Yeah.
or something.
There's like a few pictures of me outside of the garb with my, old friends back in the day. But then I was like, well, what about, when I'm wearing garb? And it's like a few pictures in the Renaissance fair. So I was like, okay, but it's like a very few. So that's where that leads to why, is it came up with the idea of during the pandemic was the Caid's Water Wars extravaganza. Sorry, tongue twister right there. It was like one of my biggest accomplishments, and I was able to work with great people during the pandemic, and I worked with different dukes, different baron, baroness, essentials. I mean, people were happy to help out and create these fun videos to help raise, not only help raise funding, but to inspire for more donations for the kingdom, because the kingdom was struggling during that time because they were losing money. And so I was honored to participate in that, and I have a lot of great people helping with that.
Speaking of that, is that video that you showed me of the water?
The balloon fight?
Yeah, the water balloon fight thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And then and we'll show that here in a little bit. Unless we can cue it up right now, if you can do a little intro to it, what it is.
So the purpose of the video that I developed was to promote youth combat and encourage different parenties to don't forget about the kids. Let's try to come up with youth activities during this pandemic that are fun with your family, and so that's what was the whole intent, was just to do something with the little ones while we're stuck inside the house, that was the major goal. And then I'm a sucker for promotion. I like to promote youth combat all over the time.
And then so you did this video to promote the youth combat thing and to do and it's a fundraiser. And were other people doing videos like this too?
Yes.
Okay, so do you have those videos are on your Facebook channel or on your Facebook page, correct?
Yes, there's a public Facebook page called Caid's Water Wars Extravaganza. It's a group. You can just type it in and search for it, and you can be invited to it.
Here pretty soon we can put it in the comments of the chat later on, and so people can go there. But Justin, if you're ready, you can go ahead and run that video if you can.
Whew, that's a great workout. I really do love these new swords. Well, I guess I gotta go home now. What? You can't get me! Aha! You're too slow, dude. Nope, I need blocked. No, I don't think so.
Well, looks like I'm all out of options, but say hello to my little friend.
Oh, poo. Nico!
Yes, Dan?
Nico, come here.
Yes.
Come here. Oh, I love you. But call your mom and remind her about buying pie for us.
Okay. No!
Man, for some reason I really want pie. Oh man. Is it good? Yeah. I hope you like the show. This is my son Nico.
Hello.
I'm Lord Cesar Alejandro de Baracoa. And I hope you really enjoy the show, and please continue to donate for our Kingdom fundraiser.
Awesome, dude. That was cool.
Yeah.
So you did that as a fundraiser and as like a challenge for other people to do stuff?
Yeah, so we have like one of those temperature thermometers, and we keep track of how many people donate for the Kingdom. And then each step, each goal that we reach, we have a video for them as an incentive to continue with the donations. So
okay. Now, did you come up with this, or did several people come up with it?
I came up with it, and I asked permission from the Kingdom Central and the Majesties to see if that's okay, and I got the full approval with the help with the Calafia's Baron and Baroness, Camilo and Danielle. And they're great mentors, so they were able to help me out with this production.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. We have
like. I'm sorry.
We have about having somebody who help you. I actually have sponsors. who help us. Some help us keep clean. Others help us with caffeine. But and we actually have commercials. So Justin, commercial. Pretty cool, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. The Blackfire Alchemy, they do soaps and stuff like that, are ridiculously good. I mean, they're like really good. This is our next section of my show. I call it the meaty section. That's where we get into heavier topics instead of the fun stuff we've been talking about. So we'll just start off right in the mix of, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Ooh. Let's see. Currently, well, it's public now. I'm only in the path of Master of Arms. And that's been really difficult. That's part of the reason why I give up my Squire belt to Gellir, because he's following his own path and I'm following my own path. So there's no like bad blood between us. We just didn't, agree with the fealty part of it. And I have a lot more respect for him. But for that reason, I just, that was really hard for me to do. And for personal reasons, for in terms of religious and stuff like that. But wearing the bardric is really important to me, and I notice a lot of people get really offended by that, or they think it's a blow to the knights or an FU to them. And I was like, no, man, it's like my own personal belief, my own personal path that I want to continue for myself. I mean, I'm not saying I'm good enough to be, a Master of Arms. I have a long road ahead of me to continue to learn, because every time I learn from different knights or different veterans fighters, I take that information and I use that information to pass it on to the little ones in youth combat. And it got to the point that those kids are beating me up, which is sad, but which is good. I'm doing my job, So I take that really seriously. And when I wear my baldric for the first time at the Califia Greatest Warrior, I get squires asking me, why are you wearing a baldric? You're a squire.
A red baldric, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I got permission from my knight, and but it's like, why do I need to explain myself? It doesn't matter. And
right. I mean, technically, the red belt isn't part of sumptuary laws for the SCA anyway.
Yeah.
But it is not a traditional thing that some squires do, but
Yeah, and so and now that I have you, because you're from the West, is it unheard of for a squire to follow the path, or a person who's a squire to a knight follow the path of a MOA?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's several who had done. It's really strange. My squire, he wears a red baldric, and he wears a red baldric as he put it, an homage to me, to his peer, and that's why he wears it that way, is to show everyone that he's my squire, and he wants people to know that he's my squire. So that's how he wears his. And technically there really isn't any laws or any rules or regulations or any of that stuff that has to do with squires belts at all. Squires belt was made by people to show that a young person is a squire, and that he is somebody's student, which means if he does something wrong, there's somebody you can go to talk to.
Yeah,
because he's wearing the red belt, that basically puts him on the spot that he's representing his knight or his peer. Now, in the West, there hadn't been a master made in 29 years before they made me. But there was people that were on the path, I know, and I don't think they were ever dissuaded from it. I don't think they were ever told that by their knights. Some maybe that we just don't know about. So the ones that I know that wanted to do the path of master, who I've even been talking to now, their knights don't care.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I know a bunch of masters who have squires who have told their squires, don't be a master, be a knight. Because it's a harder path. Yeah. It's a much harder path. And so they keep telling, you should be a knight, don't be a master, because it's an easier path. And some of them have become knights, and they're much happier for becoming knights. So as this, what do you think is the worst part of that you're talking about? Was it the fact that that you weren't accepted for wearing your squire's belt as a baldric, or was it just people's reactions?
I think it's the people's reaction, and the fact that saying that you're a squire to a knight, you should be wearing a baldric. It's like, only if you wear a baldric, you have to be a squire to a master of arms. It's like, okay, where's the nearest one? Does that mean I have to go to outside the kingdom to find one? I mean, I don't think I should have to. Right. So I think it's more of a cultural thing.
There aren't any masters in Caid or that were elevated in Caid. Now there are some who I know used to live there. I think there might be one that's still living there. I can't remember for sure, but one that was actually elevated there. There hasn't been one elevated in Caid. I think now, according to the BOD, and on the rules and regulations, when people are coming up as a peer and they're being elevated to chivalry, they have, at the time of their elevation, they are asked, do you want to take a baldric or would you take the belt? And they can decide then. But it's common knowledge that what you're gonna do at the beginning of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody knew that I was taking a baldric, and when I was offered, I mean, my wife basically told everybody he's taking a baldric, so I'm taking a baldric, right? Because that way.
So and I'm not trying to hide it either. I mean, it's just like, this is the path I want to go for personal reasons.
Right, and each master, that's very, 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 very relevant, because each master has their own reasons, and some of them are extremely personal that aren't anybody's business.
Exactly.
And that's why I haven't asked you yours, because it's your business.
And I appreciate that, and I take it very seriously. And for me, not be able to wear a baldric, I just say, you know what? No, I need to find the path. And so I know it's not going to be easy. And I talked to many people, like what their reaction. I actually took a little poll of some of the people who are like, and I got one candidate who actually is very vocal. And then I got a few of them, they're like very afraid and they don't want to come out of the closet, per se.
And so why is that?
Because they're just afraid that maybe they won't get picked, and that's the mentality that I get. That I was like, dude, you shouldn't be afraid. I mean, if they don't pick you, they'll pick you. Who cares? Have fun with the game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that kind of leads into the next one, because I want to continue on this thread, but I want to also have this next question in there, because that also kind of leads into what we're talking about, is what's the worst thing that you've seen done to someone else? And this actually leads in there, because now you're talking about other people.
Yeah. So the one big one, and it was the article from the Master of Arms from the Crown Prince, the article done by Lord Thomas.
And he's the Reeve of Starcoffin. He's soon to be the Baron of Starcoffin. That article.
Yes, that article.
Yeah, I'm actually going to read that article in this segment, so or part of the show. But
awesome.
I'm sorry. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's a great article. I mean, it brought some awareness. It shows great bravery to the Reeve of Starkoffen. It got to the point that I contacted him to graduate him on the article. I was like, dude, you're not the only one. There's a few guys here in Caid that felt that way too. Dude, mad props. I mean, and if there's anything I can do to support you, let me know. I got your back. But then I heard from him that he getting picked on. Well, not picked on, but like being threatened or just being saying that he's gonna be. They're challenging his honor and stuff like that, which I didn't like. I mean, to me, that's like you guys are bullying him on a game that we love, and that's not right. And I feel bad for him, and then at the same time, it's like, man, not only that, but you guys, the few that give him a hard time, and I'm saying knights are tainting that order of chivalry. You guys are I mean, those bad apples are just tainting that order of chivalry, and that's wrong. And I give him so much love and props for him and his wife. They're very kind people, and the thing is that it's a game, and if he writes an article because of that, take that, while you're angry, take that anger and focus on how to improve that. This is the opportunity right there. You're hearing the voice of a certain populace, population in the kingdom. What can we do to improve that, right? What can you guys do to improve that process? It feels like it's a taboo, and so one of the questions I asked, I go, when I ask different people is, how do you feel? What are your reaction when you ask them about this is the path I want to go as a Master of Arms? And I actually took a poll, and this is the reactions. They receive a discouragement. The kingdom don't do that. You have a long road ahead of you. Good luck. Yes, it's possible in a different kingdom. And then the worst part is laughter. And these are different people.
These are things that you asked.
Different people,
and that's your responses that you receive from them. And we don't need to know who it is or their station or any of that. That's so everybody out there knows. My squire wrote an article for the Caidan. It's the prince, the crown prince, Prints. Yeah, in print, crown prince, and he wrote an article about trying to become a Master at Arms, or also the path of the Master at Arms in the Kingdom of Caid. And it just was basically putting it out there of the things that he himself and me and other people in the populace have experienced in their path to Master at Arms, or even not even people in the path, just regular people, and what they've heard. And me myself people forget, I'm a master now, but 10 years ago, nobody gave me the time of day. Nobody. The only people that gave me any kind of response or talk to or whatever were people on the battlefield who I killed, and they're like, "Oh, hey, man, that was pretty good, man. Nice run, or nice fight, or whatever." And the people in my group, in the house I belonged to in Black Company, and other mercenary people gave me, respect and love like family. But everything in it, I went to I can't even guess how many events I've been to in Caid, and even back in the early 90s, and all the way up through till now. And even there, and at even events where we weren't even in Caid, I heard the same thing from the same people, that they don't make masters in Caid, and that that they if a candidate, if there is even a candidate that says that that's the path they're going to go, then the candidate isn't considered. Now, the problem with that was also in my squire's article, is that he's actually going to go and put an amendment to that, or he's gonna edit that article, and he's going to send out another article clarifying, because that is a misnomer, and it really is to say that because what that statement says is that all knights in Caid will not do that, because if they won't look at a candidate because it's going to be a master at arms, and that's not true.
No,
it's really not, and we can't say that either, because it's not true.
Yeah.
But there are a few. Let's just put it that way. And I have heard it straight directly from their mouths. I've heard it.
Yeah, and this is like a poll that I took from different people.
Right. And what
and
you
I was
heard
like,
is exactly what I heard.
Yeah.
And actually, there was more like, since this is my show and little kids cover their ears, I've heard fuck no.
Yeah.
Not only no, but fuck no.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
And don't get me wrong. I do find other knights saying, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Yeah.
And I think it's like a trend where it's the younger knights they're okay with. It's unfortunately it's the older knights maybe, and so I'm not I'm speculating, but a lot of the things that what really ticked me off is just that that because he wrote an article, he's being bullied.
Yeah, and he was actually like, and I want to put this out there for everyone too. He was they as in a few people were impinging his honor and talking about his character. And I'm telling y'all out there who's watching and who will watch or whatever, be very careful how you talk about my squire. And because he is a retired Marine, his honor is impeccable. He works his ass off, and he wouldn't be my squire if he wasn't an honorable person. And be very careful how you talk about him.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, because we're in a game, and what are you going to do about it if I talk bad about your squire?
Yeah.
Just don't talk about my squire.
Yeah.
And especially when what he was talking about was, in his eyes, the truth as he feels. And he is going to amend that article. And later on in the show, I'm going to read that article. And he is going to amend that article to take out those things that are totalitarian sounding, that are that are blanket statements. And he's going to amend those blanket statements because. But I myself thought it was a fantastically written article.
Yeah, a lot of the things that he mentioned, I agree with. But as a person of interest, but then some of it's correct too, because what have the Order of Chivalry have done to promote the MOA is okay? Following the path of MOA is okay, or are saying that it's not a taboo, because I haven't really.
That was there's some knights around the fence that I talked to that are right, they're in between, and I know they're stuck in a rock and a hard place, because they know it's right by BOD rules, they know it's right by for other people to play their own game.
Yeah,
but they also know that they have some other hard-headed knights that they believe that their path is the only path, and that's the only way it should be, that you should only be in fealty to your crown, and that way, and that's fine. That's the way that they play. The hard part for that knight in the middle is, if he fully supports this guy, then he gets alienated by this guy. If he fully supports this guy, he gets alienated by this guy, and he's like a libertarian,
Yeah,
stuck in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
But those middle knights that I've talked to have said that it isn't that they don't make MOAs, it's that by tradition they don't make MOAs. So when maybe that's the way it should have been worded a little differently, is that is in tradition, they don't make MOAs. And they also said that no one has been put out there as an MOA. Nobody has been recommended to be an MOA. But if everyone who's out there, including me, who was a fringy at the time, and other fringies like yourself and other people are told we don't make MOAs because of tradition,
So
they're not going to give a recommendation, because what happens if they give a recommendation to somebody and then that person is ostracized because of it?
Yeah. So I'm going to put this out there because, one of the common questions that Lord Thomas or Reeve Thomas mentioned is like they're asking for examples. Well, I'm going to tell you an example. I do have a potential candidate. His name is Thorgrim Kugi, and he resides in Summergate. Have you written
a recommendation for him?
Yeah. And I'm going to do it again. But the thing is that he's a grant level award person that actually received that award, a gauntlet. He's always in the semifinals or in the finals. He is a good fighter, but a great fighter. But only that, he has peer-like qualities, and he's been supporting the kingdom for many years.
And we have a picture of him, don't we, Justin?
Yeah.
That's
his happy face,
dude, man.
Yeah. So that's his happy face, right? When I tell him he's my deputy for heavy combat. So yeah, that guy. Not only does he go to different kingdoms and fight with dukes and different knights, but he goes in there to learn, and then brings that back to our practices and teaches what he learned from dukes and kings and different royals and different knights who are successful in their careers in the SCA. And he does nothing. I have nothing but good things to say about him.
That goes right into my next question was, what was the best thing that you've seen happen to someone? That right there, to me, is one of the best things that can happen to someone else, is that you've actually, here on my show have said that this guy is, a great guy. And for you to say that means a lot to me, because I value your opinion and I respect your opinion. But is there anything else?
Yes. Well, all my kids in the youth combat are remarkable fighters. I get complimented by counts and dukes and kings, and when they compliment about a young warrior fighting them, and it's like that, my heart like goes 10 times bigger, and I was like, dude, yes, it's like that character from Hercules in Disney, that Disney movie, that's the satire. I'm like the Danny DeVito guy. Yeah, my name's on the stars. So I was so happy about that. And when I see those kids go in there and get their awards, get recognized in the SCA, getting their Acorn and their Kingdom Award, I was like, tears are going my eyes. Like, man, I'm so happy. It brings. I was like, I helped that. I helped to encourage to go on the right path. And I get some kids who are like, I'm going to continue. I want to be a knight. Yes, you can. Yes, you can do it. Or I got another one who doesn't want to fight anymore, but he wants to cook. He likes Renaissance cooking. Yeah. I was like, dude, I will be your tester, man. I got the belly. You bring the food. I'd be ready to test, man. I got great people in the barony just supporting youth combat, supporting the kids, helping out each other. That's all it's about. It may be a game, but it's also part of the family, and we just need to learn how to play well in the sandbox, and that's all it's all about. And when I hear bad things about other people getting, because he stands out and being opinionated, and he gets pooped on, that's wrong.
Yeah,
So
and talking about the whole family aspect and all that, and that yes, this is a hobby, this is a game, and we have some who take it extremely seriously, and they take it like really seriously, and to the point of being angry about someone standing up and saying, "Hey, this is something we need to look at," and it really doesn't need to be that way. And I mean, and us talking about this, we're not slamming these few Caidonites who have their opinions. We're not slamming them. What we are talking about, though, is the way that they were treating somebody who was speaking out, and there are other consequences, things that have been happening to Thomas and his lady at Great Western War, and are still continuing, things that are going on because of that article. And that stuff it's counterproductive, because we're all here to have fun. We're all here to enjoy it with the game with our family and enjoy the hobby. And to be upset about it or to get angry about it because somebody else is playing differently than you is a waste of energy.
Correct.
And not only that, but it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful, and I'm a member of the chivalry. We believe in honor and respect, compassion. That's the way that we should be. That's the way that all of us should be. And it's really hard to not get into the finger pointing of the whole thing, because for years I held a chip on my shoulder for being a fringy, and because I was treated badly, and then I used those to treat other people badly. And now I have a chance to let people know not to do that, and to try and bring these people together, the fringies and the loyalists, and you bring them all together and get them to start talking and realize that they're all playing their own game and having fun doing it, that we don't need to I don't need to put a disparagement on a knight who doesn't like MOAs. I don't need to put disparagements on that guy, and I won't, because that's the way he wants to play the game. But what I will defend someone on, and I will defend anyone who is attacked or who is verbally attacked or treated badly. I will absolutely defend them.
Yeah.
And I will point my finger and say, hey, we need to sit down and talk about this. Not point my finger, yell and scream and tell them, you're a bad person. No, we put the two people together that have the problem, and we sit down, have a beer, and we figure it out.
Yeah.
Even if it's to agree to disagree, at least be respectful of each other. And that's what I'm trying to do now, is trying to get this discourse to where it's respectful between the people. And, hopefully that's what will happen.
Yeah.
So that's enough of that.
I know. I was kidding.
Yeah, me and you have had this discussion, and we'll have more discussions, and hopefully. But let's talk about some cool stuff. Like one of the things we do in our show is we have something called throwing someone under the bus.
Yeah.
And that's when you take two people that you absolutely think need recognition, and you need people to know who they are and need to tell people how freaking awesome they are. Then we give you this chance. So who are your two people? And Justin's going to throw them under the bus.
Okay. So the two people is Lady Melizabeth and Lady Anna Morin. These two ladies are the pillar of the community. They brought so much joy and very supportive. These guys are the bedrock of youth activities and youth combat. I couldn't have done what I've done now without their help. it's the ideas that we come together as a family and as friends and do the best we can to inspire young folks to continue youth combat, to continue within the SCA. And I want to thank them for just being themselves and being them and just have a great heart. So thank you. Thank you both. And I appreciate it and I love you both.
That is awesome, man. And I love throwing people under the bus like that. And you actually had 3. So you had the guy you're recommending and those 2, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's normally we're usually finished up by now and we're on our way out, but we've had a serious discussion and is there anything else that you want to talk about that discussion, or is there anything else that you just want to say?
Like I mentioned before, this is just a LARP, awesome LARP. I mean, it's a hobby. We don't need to bash people because you're opinionated. Those few who did tainted a very special order that I value and respected, and because of that, I feel bad for them because of the few bad apples. But like I said, don't give up. Be opinionated. If you see something wrong, say it. There are people out here who will support you and protect you, because bully is not allowed. And I always teach that to my kids as well. You follow your own path and you have fun with it.
Reverend. Preach it, brother.
Yeah.
Well, Cesar, thank you so much for coming, man. I just, I'm really happy that you came on my show. I'm glad that people got to meet you and to see how passionate you are and to see how amazing you are, just like I've seen. And this is the whole meaning of this show, is so other people can meet you, and hopefully this will also start a discussion later on. I'm going to want to, at some point later on, I think I'm going to have a show where we get people together and see how things shake out after this latest stuff goes down, and just to see how things went after you did your show, after you've been on the show, and after all the stuff finally kind of evens out with the article and the stuff, and to see how things shake out. So hopefully you wouldn't mind coming back, and I'd love to have you.
It'd be a great honor, and I
Awesome.
appreciate the support.
And thank you so much, and give love and hugs to your family. And man, I thank you so much, brother.
You're welcome.
Well, that guy kind of got charged up in the middle. I'm kind of doing something different this time, because normally I do a letters to Lash and kind of the my being real intro thing. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm still going to do my being real, but I'm actually going to read my Squire's article. Now, I'm going to try and read it as quickly as possible, but it is a long article, and I understand that, and I'm sorry if it takes so long. But I really want people to hear this in the spoken word, and then I'm going to give you my opinion of it. And here's the Master at Arms by Lord Thomas Chisholm, Reeve of Starcoffin. Recently, I was flattered to be a guest interviewed on a monthly Facebook show called Lash's Fantastic Fringies. That's me. The premise of the show is to spotlight fringe players that don't get a lot of attention but have an impact on this game we all love so much. During the course of the interview, it came up that I inspired to a Master at Arms, and it occurred to me that not many in our kingdom have much knowledge of Masters of Arms. Can you name a Master of Arms, and if so, a squire of that peer? Finding one in this kingdom is harder to do than you might expect. I don't know any other squires to a master in this kingdom. It reminded me of Yoda's quote in Star Wars: "Always two there are, no more, no less, a master and an apprentice." The Master of Arms is a chivalric peerage equal to a knight and granted for the same reasons as a knight. The only difference is the Master of Arms makes a chivalric pledge, but not an oath of fealty to the crown that bestows the title. Here's how it is described on the SCA.org website. The Order of Chivalry consists of the Knights and Masters of Arms, Members are recognized for their great skill at arms in combat, as well as for qualities of courtesy and grace. Knights swear fealty to the crown. During the knighting ceremony, they are entitled to wear a white belt, a gold chain as a symbol of their fealty. Knights are addressed as Sir, and for some female knights, Dame. Master of Arms are equal in rank to knights. They may choose not to swear fealty and wear a white baldric diagonally from shoulder to hip, and they are addressed as Master or Mistress. But it is a lack of specific oath that makes it a rare peerage, a peerage sought out by those of us who may be on the fringe and play a different persona than many others. One of the personas who are drawn to the goal of Master of Arms is the mercenary. This is where I began my SCA life, and it is a persona that I enjoy. There are some wonderful opportunities to role play and add some entertaining theater to our game. As a mercenary, I have had fun negotiating contracts for fighting on one side or another, and actually, the pay is never really the point. It's the theater that is fun. I end up making friends and creating stories with fighters on both sides of the war. And one year, I may be helping Caid storm a castle against the West, and the next year, I get to test myself against those same friends as I help the West hold the bridge against Caid. The real pay is the stories and friendships made along the way. There are a lot of reasons someone might want to choose a mercenary persona. Some may have a life that requires frequent moves. Some retired people may want to travel extensively. Perhaps being active duty in the military makes this persona appealing. Some might choose this type of persona because it sounds like fun to fight for cookies or beer. Others might want to be a mercenary because they've seen too many movies and it just sounded cool. Many servicemen are required to move frequently, and my household was formed primarily from active duty servicemen. We knew that we would be periodically scattered to the four winds, and a mercenary theme seemed to make the most sense. We embraced this, and we embraced the SCA. We tried to have as much fun with it as we could, but we also took it seriously. We worked hard in our local shires. We held officers' positions. We helped each other with garb and armor. We shared rides and helped new people learn to enjoy the dream with us. Of the founding members of my household, there are still active. 3 have become landed barons, 2 are pelicans, and 1 has become a laurel. None have become a master at arms. I was blessed with some very inspirational people who guided me throughout the years. Sir Tryggvin Halfastron, Will Travel, formerly Master at Arms, was a mentor in my early days and coached me through my first tournament. Seeing him gave me hope that a mercenary like myself could, through hard work and dedication, achieve a peerage. My current peer, Master Lash Kenshi, Shintaro Masashige Minamoto, that's me, has followed the mercenary persona, and we have fought together and against each other over the years more times than I can count. His service and skill in battle have been truly inspiring for me. Because of these examples and others like them, I have worked very hard at making my local group a better place to play and tried to be the example for newer players just as they were for me. I have always required my household members to commit to a minimum amount of service at every event they attend, as well as encourage them to serve in their local geopolitical groups. To look down on a mercenary during the play acting is expected and is all part of the fun. But to think that we are less committed to this society because we choose not to swear fealty to a particular kingdom is a disservice to all we have done and to our commitment to the SCA. That brings us to my point, the oath. It is my opinion that an oath is to be taken quite seriously. If I do not feel I can fulfill an oath, then I will not swear it. I am not alone in this conviction, and it is for this reason the Master of Arms title was created. My loyalty to the ideals of chivalry will never diminish, and swearing an oath to uphold these ideals and pass them on would cause me no hesitation. Swearing an oath of fealty to one kingdom crown does cause me pause and consider what it is I am saying. These things have meaning, and for some, the meaning goes beyond the game. Many people also have religious hesitations regarding swearing fealty. In order to respect these beliefs and still acknowledge and reward those deserving of it, our wonderful society has created this title. People shouldn't be penalized for having a different belief in what the oath of fealty means. It is a personal conviction that should be respected and not punished. The society understands this, and many kingdoms understand it as well. If you have dedicated your life to fighting, service, and have peer-like qualities, if you strive to be an example and to enrich the lives of those around you, if you have made it your goal to make this dream a better one for all who participate, it should be rewarded. Master of Arms was created by the SCA for just that reason. It is a goal worth pursuing. But the goal has become unreachable for some. In the 43 years since Caid was founded as a kingdom, it has never granted the title Master of Arms. This sends a message that your peer-like qualities, hard work, service, and creative skills will not be rewarded with chivalric peerage in this kingdom. If there is a reason for this that makes sense, I have yet to hear it. No Master at Arms, 43 years, not once. How is that possible? Is our kingdom only willing to recognize those deserving of elevation if they are loyal to Caid? None of the other peerages have this requirement. When a Laurel, Pelican, Master Defense, or even a royal peer move to another kingdom, are they held to the Caid crown oath? Of course not. They are expected to serve the kingdom in which they reside. But if you have a life that requires frequent moves, or if you have a plan, as I do, to enjoy retirement traveling the known world, are you supposed to keep swearing temporary oaths to the nearest crown? That seems kind of silly and defeats the purpose of an oath. Unfortunately, in Kingdom of Caid, as soon as it becomes known that a candidate is seeking a baldric instead of a belt, all consideration of that candidate ends. I know many skilled fighters that do wonderful service and have exemplary peer-like qualities. It's sad to know that as long as they play the game in Caid, they have no chance of receiving the Society Order of Chivalry Master of Arms. Why would they be moved to pledge fealty to a kingdom that has never rewarded them? This is a society-level title and not a kingdom award, but a kingdom can deny the opportunity to achieve it. I just can't understand why it would want to. I believe it's time for an open and honest discussion about how we in Caid value and reward those members who have dedicated themselves to us living the dream and making it a better place for all. So hopefully that wasn't too grueling for you to listen to. And it's a fantastic article. But I will point out that after talking with my squire, there were a couple points in there that he is going to be, if he hasn't already done it, issuing an edit to this when he said that the sorry, I got to find it. When he was talking about, sorry, I'm just trying to find it real quick. It says Caid. When he said that they find out if you're going for the Master at Arms and you are not considered. That's not true. And I wanted to. He's going to change that also because that's a blanket statement, and it's a blanket statement. What it should have been said is that people have been told this, and because I've heard it myself, I have heard it from the horse's mouth about that. You know, if they're going to be Master at Arms, then they won't be considered. I've heard that before. But like I said before, that was from a few knights. You can't put a blanket statement on all the knights of Caid or on the kingdom of Caid. And that one of the things that was said to me about this article was that nobody has been recommended, that nobody's put recommendations in. They don't put recommendations in because they've been told that this just says. They've been told that people don't that they won't be recognized, or they won't be a candidate won't be recognized if they find out that they're going to be a master. I can't. It's hard to explain, but as fringies, when you're at events like I was 10 years ago, you're ignored. You're ignored, and you can walk by people's camps and hear them talking, and see them talking, and listen to their conversations because they're loud, you know. Or right after a battlefield, be sitting by a tree after all the fighting's done, and there's a few knights sitting there talking, and they start talking about Master at Arms, and then saying that they're Coors Light of the Shiv. that they're light, Coors Light, light beer, that they don't have a place in our game. And that is exactly the way that I heard it put. And it's to me at the time, I was like, oh, whatever, because this, we're backwards. This was unexpected for me. I wasn't on the path for this. I didn't know that it was going to happen. It just happened. And I was offered. And so what I believed was that I needed to lead by example, and then I needed to show that I was better, and not because everybody wants the mercenary to be the bad guy. Everybody wants him to be able to say, they want to be able to point at you and go, oh yeah, that's why. That's because they're doing that. That's why we don't like them. That's why, all the things that I used to carry a chip on my shoulder about. That's why we do what we do. That's why we are as honorable as I am, and the other people that are around me in Black Company are. And ask, if you want to know how honorable we are, ask some of the people who are running volunteers at Great Western War, and just ask them about Black Company, and that'll answer all your questions. So he's gonna put some retractions on this statement. And there's a couple other things. I really, really commend my squire Thomas for doing this, because he put it out there, and he was told by a couple of people that he's going to pay for it. Basically, I even had knights coming to me and say, dude, your squire, you need to get a handle on your squire, and you need to. One of them basically said, what's up with your squire? What's wrong? Why is he doing this stupid stuff? And then attacked his character. And I told that particular knight that I wholly support my squire, and that what he did, he felt was right. So I'm going to support him. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry. That's your opinion, and your opinions don't matter to me. Also, I want you to know that there were knights that thought it was great, that thought the card article was fantastic. There were several that I talked to, several high-level knights. I'm not going to bring up names, but several high-level knights that thought it was fantastic, and that thought that the main people that were causing all the stir and all the problems and issues was a select few knights who've always been assholes. That was their words, not mine. But I just want everybody out there to know that this article is in the October, let me see, I'm throwing it up real quick, in the Caid Crown Prince, volume 23, October 15th, 2021. And we'll have a link to this in the comments. So if you want to read it, because of I read it so quickly. But I did want to make sure that you understood that there is going to be another article coming out, and he's going to adjust some of the things in here that were blanket statements that really shouldn't have been blanket statements. And that'll be I don't know when that's going to come out, but I'll definitely have it on my show and let you guys know. But to me, we're playing the game, and this, I'm just going to run this right into my next section, which is the what I usually call my Paul Harvey section, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to continue with what I'm talking about right now, but it's going to be part of that Paul Harvey section. Is talking about our game, and the fact that, like, we had some people get all upset because I have a a TikTok out there right now that's on the West Kingdom page, and it's already hit over 500,000 hits. 500,000. That's over 500,000 views. I have over 50 people that I have sent, over 50 that I've sent to different people around the country, to their seneschals and their chatelaines, to the SCA.org sites, and to the SCA Japanese page, and a couple other pages. There's people want to be knights. There's people that want to do all this cool stuff, and we're there, and they keep rolling in. I keep getting these people who are sending messages to me, but there was a lot of people who are angry about it, because the premise of it is, say you're in a LARP without saying you're in a LARP, and I was walking into combat in my hard suit armor, and people got all upset saying it was we're not a LARP, we're not a LARP, we're not a LARP. You're saying that like LARP is a bad word, like LARP is something that is, like something bad, like sewer water, or LARP is horrible or whatever. People need to understand, especially the older crowd who don't understand some of the verbiage that we use, especially when it comes to social media and stuff. But a LARP is a heading of an activity like water sports or field sports or role-playing games or video games. It's a heading. There is over 75 LARP groups in the United States operating right now, and they're growing. And people from the SCA are leaving and going to these LARP groups. Like there's like Bellegarth, like Hadrian's Empire, Empire of Medieval Pursuits. There's a bunch of other ones. There's the big one over back east, where I forgot it already, but it was they do orcs and goblins and magic and stuff like that. Though, all that stuff is under the heading of LARP, and including the SCA, because we're live action role play. We pick up a character from history and we recreate that character, or we try to recreate that character. I'm a 13th century samurai from Japan, and I try and recreate that person to my best ability. That's what we do, and we play. And to put a negative connotation on it, you're right there getting rid of people who might be interested in our game, in the SCA. But as soon as you put a negative connotation on LARP, they're like, well, hey, I'm not going to come play with that. If somebody's going to be, crapping on the other stuff that I do, they may come over from Bellegarth. They may come over from whatever, from HEMA or EMP, and then they hear people talking about LARP, and then they're gone. We need to get rid of that, because the SCA, we're dying. Our membership is going down, and we need an influx of people to come in, and they're not going to come in if this is happening. Like a perfect example is we have several people who cross-pollinate with us from a local LARP group, from a local Bellegarth group, and they play with us, and then we go over and we play with them, and we cross-pollinate. And now they want to come in and they want to do hardsuit, and they want to join. And do you think they would want to join if they find out that people are talking negatively about LARP and putting that on them? No, they wouldn't. So we need to stop that now. We need to everybody needs to just stop putting a negative connotation on that, and start including these people even in our social media. Tag them, get them in, do the things we got to do to show them what we do, because I'm telling you, what they are doing is fantastic. It's fantastic. they are so nice and accepting of new people. I sent 2 people who wanted to do that in San Jose to the LARP group down there. I don't know their name. And they were instantly accepted. They were given armor, they were given weapons, they were helped, they were taken to events, they were transported to events to go with them. And now they're not going to do the SCA anymore. They're staying in with Belgrade. So we just need to be a little more open and a little more accepting of how people want to play, which is the same thing as the Master at Arms thing that's going on with that article. We need to be more accepting and inclusive of how other people want to play, because what does it matter? What does it matter if somebody wants to be a Master at Arms and they are recognized as having peer-like qualities or being a peer? Like somebody recognized me saying that I had peer-like qualities. I didn't think so, but they did. I know other people that can be recognized in that same way. People in Caid. So what does it matter? Why is there such a resistance? Or if it, like some people told me, it's only a few people in key high spots that have this opinion, then why are the people around them allowing them to have that opinion? Bring them out, take them out on the carpet and say, look, we're done with that. That's old thinking. We need to move forward. And that's what I want everyone to do. I want them to move forward. And one of the things that really brought this out to me and to also made me think about this stuff is that I was listening to Audible, and I was listening to one of my friends recommended Ryan Sanderson's Stormlight Archives, and in one of the books, they have this group that they have these codes that they live by, and I want to read these codes, and I want to read this to you because I think it's very relevant, and I think it's relevant to this conversation, and maybe it'll help. But they're basic tenets of their faith, and it's life before death. A leader seeks to defend life always. They never kill unnecessarily and never risk their own life for frivolous reasons. Living is harder than dying. A leader's duty is to live. A leader's duty is to show strength. A leader's duty is to show weakness. Always use strength before weakness. All men are weak at some time in their lives. A leader protects those that are weak and uses their strength for others. Strength does not make one capable of rule. It makes one capable of service. Journey before the destination, and there's always several ways to achieve a goal. I mean, that's pretty amazing, pretty relevant. That we're all weak at some point, and weakness can be bullying somebody. Weakness can be saying something rude to somebody just because there's something bad going on in your life. Weakness can be snapping at your significant other, and then you realizing later that you did something wrong. Then we need somebody else to strengthen them in those times of weakness, which is to step in and say, hey, what's going on, man? Are you okay? Not to get angry, not to yell, but to show compassion, even to those, because those who are angry, maybe these people who are angry about this article and angry about that, they have other things going on in their lives. Maybe we just need to communicate, to talk. And I hope that happens. And to the Kingdom of Caid, I hope you feel that we weren't bashing you or because we are absolutely not, because I love Caid, and I every event I've gone to, I've loved it, and the Great Western War, this last Great Western War was phenomenal. It was fantastic, and I had a lot of conversations that were really, really good with knights and with other peers in your kingdom. And but I want you all to know that we're not bashing you, and we're not trying to just single you out and throw you on, and throw you under the soldiers. So hopefully you don't feel that way, and please know that it wasn't, that what we talked about was not a slight or a way to disrespect you, because I would not do that. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for listening to me. And this is Lash of Black Company, sending out love and affection to everyone out there. And to say thank you to everyone for all the help, including Cal. Cal, you are awesome. Thank you for so much for letting me do this show. I wanted to do a quick shout out to Cal's doing Coffee with Cal this Sunday, the 24th at 9 a.m. and Pacific. And on the 30th, he's doing Whose Cause Is It Anyway at 5 o'clock on the 30th. And so you guys got to check out his shows. I love his Sunday Coffees shows. They're fantastic. But everyone, just remember, be the brick, be the foundation. Love you all. Thank you.